In 1980, a young family living in Texas could buy a home, raise 2 kids, and comfortably save for retirement, all on a single, modest salary. Today, you can work 50 hours a week in a supposedly booming economy and still feel entirely broke. You aren't imagining the struggle, and you aren't bad with money. The financial landscape has shifted into a system that systematically captures your income through a series of mandatory, recurring costs. To understand exactly how this happens, we are going to perform a paycheck autopsy. This block represents 100% of your gross monthly income. We are going to track every dollar of a 2026 paycheck and watch where it goes before it ever clears your bank account. Following this exact math reveals why the modern Texas dream has become a mathematical trap for the average worker. We start with shelter. This chart tracks the median home price in Texas over the last 4 decades. In 1980, a typical house cost around $45,000. Today, the state average sits at $350,000, representing a price surge of nearly 700%, while real wages completely stagnated. People often point out that 1980's mortgage rates sometimes topped 13%, but look at the actual barrier to entry on this graph. A 20% down payment back then was just $9,000. Today, saving up $70,000 for that same down payment takes the average worker over a decade. Once you move in, basic climate control becomes a luxury expense. The continuous strain on the Texas power grid and fluctuating natural gas prices make utility bills wildly unpredictable. Then there are the phantom landlords. The vast majority of new builds are locked inside mandatory homeowners associations, adding hundreds of dollars to your monthly baseline. Combine that with the soaring costs of simple plumbing or roofing repairs driven by labor and material shortages. High entry costs and rigid, escalating maintenance fees turn the foundational asset of homeownership into a volatile financial sinkhole. Texas loudly advertises its lack of a state income tax to draw people in, but the government always gets its cut. Instead of taxing your paycheck directly, they tax your shelter. Texas imposes the 8th highest property tax burden in the nation. As your property value artificially inflates on paper, your tax bill expands. You are paying thousands of dollars a year to the state, operating as a perpetual renter of your own property. Meanwhile, the federal government takes its share. Federal income tax brackets have failed to properly adjust for the modern cost of middle-class living, quietly eroding what's left of your net take-home pay. Add in the baseline 8.25% Texas sales tax on your daily purchases, and the math compounds rapidly. The cumulative effect of high property rates, sales taxes, and unadjusted federal brackets creates an aggressive backdoor drain on middle-class wealth. Step outside the house, and the bleeding continues. In 1980, a single earner could effortlessly fill a grocery cart for a family of 4. Today, food inflation heavily outpaces the official inflation rate, forcing families to downgrade the quality of their nutrition just to hit a budget. Texas is built on sprawl, making car ownership a strict requirement for survival. In 1980, a new car cost around $7,000. By 2026, the average new vehicle is pushing $47,000. Add in punishing 8% auto loan rates, rising gas prices, and the endless network of toll roads that now slice through every major Texas city. If you plan to have a family, prepare for the child care mortgage. Dual incomes are mandatory to stay afloat, yet childcare in Texas now averages over $13,000 a year per child. It is a massive baseline expense required just so you are allowed to go to work. Finally, you face a new societal wage subsidy. Every counter and drive-thru is now equipped with a screen prompting you for a 20% tip before you even receive your order. Corporations have successfully guilt-tripped consumers into directly paying their employees' wages. This combination of soaring survival costs forms a heavy, unavoidable tax on the basic right to earn a living and raise a family. Now, subtract the cost of entry. In 1980, tuition at the University of Texas was roughly $400 a semester, payable with a summer job. Modern graduates enter the workforce dragging tens of thousands of dollars in high-interest debt, chained to a monthly payment from day one. Look at what remains of the original paycheck. There is practically nothing left to fund your future. Guaranteed corporate pensions are virtually extinct, leaving you to absorb all the market risk with a 401k. And the final insult to the autopsy, The exact capital you were supposed to invest for your retirement is currently being wiped out by mandatory, astronomical rate hikes in both home and auto personal insurance. The safety net has been replaced by a tightrope. The game is mathematically rigged against the modern worker. If you want to survive, you have to stop playing by 1980s rules. Subscribe to the channel, educate yourself on the system, and start taking your wealth back today.